real life. Imagine with me that there's a family that lives right next door. And you decide, well, we should be honest. You despise them. They get on your everlast nerve. And for the sake of today's illustration, this family is called the Joneses. Yes, they are called the Joneses because they're the type of people they think everyone's trying to keep up with. Now, the Joneses go to church. But sometimes their halos are just a little crooked. Their gossip is disguised as prayer request. Honey, did you hear what happened to Sister Moses? Well, let me tell you. Darling, we need to pray for her. The Joneses consider themselves to be holier than thou. And to top it off, their children are as rude and snotty as ever. And for years, the Joneses have caused for family grief and frustration. Now, you have a dog. And try as you might, this dog is an untrainable dog. The dog does what he wants, and that's that. You can't teach this old fellow new tricks. Well, one day, you take this dog out to your front yard without a leash. And that dog darts as fast as his little body can all the way to that neighbor's house. Before you know what is happening, the dog is taking a restroom break right there in front of the Joneses' house. You may wonder if that dog has been hearing you complain all of these years about those holier-than-thou neighbors. And your dog is just getting even with them for all the trouble that they've caused you. Well, if anything, you have to smile and laugh, maybe a little bit. In today's world, we don't poke out someone's eye or pull out their tooth if they have done us wrong. But if our disobedient dog just so happens to misbehave in our neighbor's yard, in some odd way we feel a sense of retribution, a sense of justification, sense of payback for all the grief that they caused us. Well, last week we talked about anger and settling matters quickly and reconciliation. And we all know that those actions are easier said than done, especially when that person or that party has left you in grief and frustration and pain. We feel that they need to get a taste of their own medicine. An eye for an eye today may mean returning the favor and treating them just as badly as they treated us. Being just as rude and snappy. Someone gossips and slanders our name, feel that we have the license to say something bad about them. If someone forgets to pay us back, like our college roommate, we feel justification to keep her movies that we so happen to borrow. It just seems right that if someone pushes you, you push back. If someone cheats you, you cheat back. If someone is rude, you are rude back. If someone hurts you, you hurt back. Because in the end, fair is fair, and right is right. This Old Testament law was considered to be the right and the just thing to do. And while this old law is true, Jesus is challenging us on his Sermon on the Mount to be an even better person. Let's hear this rest of this verse with the Message translation. I really like this translation because the guy, Eugene Peterson, he really tries to put the Bible into today's language. And sometimes when we read the Bible in regular translations, everything kind of gets lost in translation. We have a difficult time understanding. So hear this verse now with fresh ears. You're familiar with the old law, love your friend, and its unwritten companion, hate your enemy. I challenge that. I'm telling you that you should love your enemies. Let them bring out the best in you, not the worst. Someone gives you a hard time, respond with energies of prayer. For then you are working out of your true selves, your God-created selves. This is what God does. He gives his best. The sun to warm and the rain to nourish. To everyone. Regardless. The good and the bad. The nice and the nasty. If all you do is love the lovable, do you expect a bonus? Anyone can do that. If you simply say hello to those who greet you, do you expect a medal? Any run-of-the-mill sinner can do that. Live out your God-created identity. Live generously and graciously towards others, the way that God lives towards you. When we respond with love instead of hate, something amazing happens. The cycle of hate stops. The pushing and the shoving, the rude, the hatefulness, and the retaliation comes to a halt. For love is the greatest power of all. When we repay it with love, we bring out the best of ourselves and not the worst. Let us be like God, who graciously warms people and gives them nourishment, despite who they are or how they act. Martin Luther King Jr. was a social justice hero, and not only for the African American community, but for all minority groups seeking equality. And one of the key elements of his legacy is that he encouraged nonviolent resistance when he protested, which essentially means that you don't repay hate with hate. Dr. King has a famous quote that really hit home to me this week. The quote states, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." In order to overcome a person's darkness and hate, we do not need to return the favor with more darkness, but shine our light and show our love. May we be more like God, who gives grace and mercy to all people. So this week, when you run into Oscar the Grouch at work, who is just as miserable and grouchy as ever, he is trying to pass on those feelings to everyone else. Smile at Oscar and shine your compassion. So if you happened to run into Donna the Doubter, who does her best best to show the negative things of life. Shine your positivity. If you so happen to run into rude Rachel, who's ringing up your groceries at the checkout line at your favorite store, and she's just as unpleasant as ever, shine your happiness and thank her for her time. If next week, Daryl the bad driver is driving you insane, don't scream profanities and get road rage, but shine your courtesy and patience. If you see your arch enemy, Emily, and she's just as sassy and mean as ever, surprise her socks off. Give her a genuine compliment. And if you happen to run into those obnoxious neighbors, the Joneses, remember that they are children of God just like you. And maybe I should put that dog on a leash.